time on Roots FM 96.1. It's now 8:34. Welcome to Roots Morning Praise. How are you doing this morning? Hope that you're doing great. We have, a special interview coming up in the Morning Praise segment this morning. I hope that all is doing fine. What's going on there on the road? Be careful. So many road accidents going on, and we have to definitely avoid that. I'm on Brown, and definitely will be going into, as I said before, a wonderful and a special interview. Just recently, there was, a reported cyber attack there at the office of the Prime Minister. And even before, there were other kind of similar attacks, whether it is on other ministry platforms and otherwise. And so, it's important for us as radio to inform our listeners, about the varying developments, right? Because we definitely know that, around the world also, there are millions of attacks that will happen, right? And this morning, we have a professional who is able, to definitely give more information about cyber attacks, the prevalence of it, and what is it that we can do to some extent prevent, or what is it that we can also look for, how it is that we can, really be equipped to really maneuver, especially in times like these. We've seen where, over the years, a number of organizations have been breached with their data and otherwise. And so we have to, at this moment, inform our listeners as to what's going on, when it comes on to cyber attacks and in cyberspace. And this morning we have an executive from the Snyder Group. Not the first time, Mr. Miguel, he has been with us before, Mr. Snyder. And definitely he will delve more into the details of, cyber attacks, its prevalence, and what is it that we can look forward to. Good morning. Welcome to Roots Morning Praise.
Thank you, Owen. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me again. Like you said, it's not the first time. I'm happy to be able to join you guys again. I was just listening in to what you were saying just a few moments ago, and it's the reality, right? Cyber crimes and cyber attacks, they've been around for quite some time now, but in today's times, it's a little bit worse than it was in the past, right? And a lot has to do with the health crisis that we had in 2021 and 2020, I'm sorry, in 2021, and the whole COVID situation, right? We've seen an increase of 600% during this health emergency, right? So it's the reality. Cyber attacks are there and they're increasing, and it's important that we're aware of them and how to prevent them.
And as you touched on that, what is it that persons can actually look for? How is it that they can know that there was, to some extent, a cyber attack?
Yeah, so cyber attacks basically take place on a daily basis, and often more than once, right? They're very repetitive. They're very massive, right? And what their goal is to at least have one person fall into that attack, right? With all the different attacks that they sent out, right? Just to give you an idea, Latin America and the Caribbean suffered 137 billion attempted cyber attacks between January to June of 2022, right? And we saw a total of about 384,000 ransomware attacks detected worldwide. Out of those, 52,000 were destined for Latin America, right? So we're constantly being attacked. We're constantly being profiled, let's just say that, to see how we can be targeted in a better way, right? Before, attacks were a little bit more basic and massive, right? But now they're being more targeted and directed. These cyber criminals are fine-tuning their intelligence, and they're fine-tuning the way of attacking so that you fall for the attacks more easily, right? Yep.
Wow. And we're seeing where with the prevalence of of all these, I know that there has to be some system put in place, to prevent these. I know you're part of Snyder Electric, right? I
Yep.
want you to share how it is that persons can arm themselves and be prepared, to prevent any of these, as was mentioned before, millions of attacks that happen yearly.
Millions of attacks. Let me just bring up some numbers in Jamaica. In Jamaica itself, annually, the cost of cyber attacks is close to $12 million, just in Jamaica itself, right? So think about all the rest of the other countries in the world, in the Caribbean in general, right? And it's important that we take the right actions, the right steps have in place in order to prevent these attacks. And just to give another example as well, in Costa Rica, uh, the whole entire country was frozen in place due to a cyber attack that was costing them $38 million per day. And this was directed to the Social Security office of the country itself, and it's just froze, right? So it's important that we identify the possible threat. The possible threat can be a ransomware email that goes into your email. It can be an entire list of contacts that are sent to a company, emails that are sent to a company. So it's important that we know how to identify that attack, that we know that we prepare our employees in order to be able to identify the potential attack, right? That's the first thing, identification, and have the knowledge of what it is that we have to look for in order to prevent these attacks, right? The next step is to have a protection, or have somebody appointed within the company, within the organization, to attack these attacks. Sorry for being so repetitive, but basically be able to resolve the problem as quickly as possible to minimize damages to the rest of the personnel or the equipment, right? We also have to implement. We have to make sure that we have something implemented in place, um, so we can further attack these threats, right, that are coming in, right? And last but not least, we at Snyder, for example, we did third-party testing where we automatically get these ransomware emails, and some employees tend to click on them, but some don't, right? So these are internal, third-party, organized, let's say, practices that take place in order to train us as employees what to look for, what to do if something like that happened, right? So it's important that we have this steps that take place, basically.
Definitely. You mentioned ransomware. Some persons may be saying, what is a ransomware? So for persons who may be wondering what is a ransomware, just explain it for them, a little more.
Yeah, absolutely. So ransomware, usually it's basically, sometimes it can be in the form of an email, right? Where you have to click some sort of file, open the file, download it onto your computer, and then once you do this, all the malicious actors act upon that file that you've downloaded, so they can enter your computer, they can basically lock your computer and request any further information from you in order for you guys to unlock that computer, or give you access to that computer
And
again.
normally it's money, right?
Um, Normally it's money. Normally it's money. Exactly, exactly,
So they
exactly.
would so
So,
they would request
so
money, good money, for you to get back your data.
yeah,
Is
yeah, yeah. I want to describe one of the most popular ones that we get here is an email from a local store, offering us a gift card, and usually you see a gift card and you're like, oh, I want it, and you click on it and it's a ransomware attack, right? So it can be something as simple as that.
So persons definitely be careful. And with all this information, how then can companies do promote, their corporate culture oriented to the adaptation of cyber secure practices?
So one of the most important things in implementing cybersecurity practices is to see the actual threats on a constant basis, right? If we see the threats on a constant basis, we become aware of them. We know what to look for. We know the different types of targeted attacks that take place, right? So That's one of the things. It's important that we report as well. So anytime we see any sort of cyber attack or something that we see that's a cyber attack, that we report it to our IT staff. And it's a funny story. It happened to me just 2 weeks ago. I get an email and I reported it, and I get an email back from my IT staff, and they're like, "Oh no, it was just a test. Good job. You did a good job in reporting that ransomware attack. It was we were just testing you." But that's the key, right? That's the key. Send out internal attacks that are from our internal IT team, and that way we become aware of what to look for, and what to do.
Great. And I think more companies definitely need to promote, and as your company did, you're doing some tests, but other companies need to, I don't know if whether seminars or otherwise, to ensure that staff are aware, the members are aware of what to look for, you know
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
because then again
We
they
have
can be there and probably through the email, and they probably not aware that this may be a ransomware or malware, and they're clicking on it. And so I think corporate entities, business, certain organizations, they have to ensure they promote safe practices, especially among their staff.
Exactly. Yep.
And so with all that's happening, I know persons may not have heard essentially about the Schneider or your company, Electric, before, and so we want you to some extent give a little more details on your organization before we wrap up this kind of conversation this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Schneider Electric, we are a leader in digital transformation of energy management and automation, right? So we have several solutions that can support any organization and prevent any further cyber attacks that take place, right? Our EcoStruxure Suite platform allows you to monitor, protect any equipment and system connected, regardless if there's a software or not. We can connect our EcoStruxure platform and have visibility of everything that's going on, right? Even from a simple detection of a single laptop or desktop PC that is currently being attacked, we have a way of shutting down that PC and preventing any further attacks across the rest of the network, right? So just to give you an idea, EcoStruxure platform has been deployed in more than 450,000 locations worldwide, with the assistance of about 9,000 system integrators throughout the world, right? So,
And you do have offices here in Jamaica. So for persons who are here in Jamaica, they're hearing this interview. Probably there's an organization that's listening, and they want to secure, their network or otherwise data. How can they then ensure that they're going through your organization?
absolutely, absolutely. So we don't have a local office, a local Snyder office in Jamaica. I am the territory manager for Jamaica and other countries as well. I'm constantly there. Let's say on a quarterly basis, I visit Jamaica. We do have local partners on the island that support us, such as AccuPower, Modern Power, PPS. They basically support our solutions within Jamaica itself.
What's the name of those companies again, just quickly? Acu.
Okay, AccuPower, Modern Power, and PVS.
Right, so persons, I know AccuPower is in the halfway tree area. Persons can definitely check that out. If it is that they
Absolutely.
want to, as you're saying, they're partners with you.
They're partners. They're our partners. They represent us in the island. They're very familiar with the solutions that we have and that we offer, and they can support you guys with that as well.
Right, great. And for persons who may want to also get some contact information for Schneider Electric, we can. This is your opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Could you give the contact for Schneider? How can persons get more information about Schneider Electric?
Absolutely. So I'll be happy to support you in that. My email is Miguel, Miguel duluc, that's Duluc at S as in Snyder, E as in electric.com. And I'll be happy to support you guys.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Miguel. The information was well received, And we're do hoping that organizations, business, and even persons who are listening, can be more aware that cyber attacks, they're prevalent, and you have to be careful as you're surfing this internet. Things change daily, and so you have to get the information about what's going on, the trends, and how it is to also prevent, these new kind of attacks from reaching to you. Thank you so much, Mr. Miguel.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, blessings. I was speaking to Mr. Miguel Deluc. He is the Central English Caribbean Territory Manager there at Schneider Electric. And we were speaking about cyber security. Can you believe it? There are millions, up to billions. There's an estimated 289 billion cyber attacks affecting Latin America last year, meaning that each year of the 667 million inhabitants that has been subjected to an average 433 attacks in the year. That's more than one day. So data collected by FortiGuard Labs said that Mexico, right, was the Latin America country that received the most attacks. That's about 156 billion attacks in 2021, followed by Brazil 85.5 billion, Peru 11.5 billion, Colombia. So we're seeing where cyber attacks, and especially since the pandemic, has increased. We have to be careful, as I said before, with all this information and all this data, all that's going on. We have to, as best as possible, see how we can secure ourselves. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thank you again, Mr. Sir Miguel, for being here on Roots Morning Phrase. It's now 9 minutes going up to the hour of 9 o'clock. 9 minutes going up to the hour of 9 o'clock. And we want to say thank you all so much for sticking and staying to Roots FM 96.1, the voice of the inner city. At 9 o'clock, we will be having Roots music from 9 to 10. At 10, we have Rootsology. And then at 11 o'clock, Make We Talk Tuesday with Jeffrey Tavares. And he'll be having the Interpol ambassador there for South Africa. That's Ambassador, I'm trying to remember the first name. Ambassador Andy. All right, I don't get the last name. So Ambassador Andy, right? So I want to say good morning to all the listeners. Sir Jeffrey Tavares,